We took last week off,
Yeah.
which is why we don't have the Memorial Day episode, but we'll be right back this next week. That was because I had to go to Austin, Texas for another
I was just about to ask where
conference.
exactly it was. But. So as a whole, we talked about Arch. Was there anything else that was sparked as a result of you being there? Any conversations, cool things you saw being built that you might want to be a part of, or keep an eye on moving forward?
I saw one talk in the IoT space
Okay.
that I thought was kind of interesting. It was, I know Intel was part of it, and then I can't remember the other company, but they were, brings back like IoT Intel memories.
Indeed.
But they were building all of these edge systems, edge devices, and compiling all of this data. And it was nice just to be like re-exposed and we re-brought into IoT, because I still think that's where things are and where they're going to be for a long time.
Absolutely.
And it presents some really interesting challenges around just data in general. Like, how do we there's so much more data now.
Exactly.
So how do we manage it? How do we work with it?
And for those of our more casual listeners, those who might be a little newer to tech, IoT, meaning Internet of Things. We'll bring back another previous segment. If you had to explain Internet of Things to a person who had never heard of it before, how would you take a person there? Yeah, on the spot.
Yeah. No, this is a good one. I think that the simplest way to explain it is, instead of just your phone and your computer being connected to the internet, everything around you in some way has a connection to the internet. Whether that be this plant right here, or the obvious examples are if you have an Alexa of some sort, or any of the Amazon devices that are Alexa enabled, the Google devices that are smart devices enabled that are meant to listen and act and behave, like light bulbs, right? You get smart light bulbs that are connected via a hub and allows you control over these things.
Exactly.
These are common examples, I think, of Internet of Things, but then it goes to a next level of how do you apply this technology in companies to provide value for people. And I always like the kind of examples of, oh, hey, I'm a truck driver, I'm delivering food of some sort. I have devices in the truck bed that can tell me if the milk has spoiled or has got below a certain temperature and now isn't good enough to be put in stores and meets regulations, and different type of farming equipment and things like that, to get more data about the growing process and how things work, like these tiny little devices that now you can place all around.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. And it's funny enough because when you said the plant, I was like, what are you talking? But you're right, because my mind was the Internet of Things is a connection of objects and devices that are not typically connected to the internet in a way to receive data to make decisions on moving forward. And even when I look at the definition here, it's the interconnection via the Internet of computing devices embedded in everyday objects, enabling them to send and receive data. So you kind of gave an example of something that a person might see in their everyday life of IoT, depending on how they work. And with the Open Source Summit, make sure I'm getting that correct.
Yeah.
That conference you just went to, did you find that a lot of talks were centered around that, or because I feel like in our previous position, that which why we like kind of chuckled and like working with IoT, whether it's things like thermostats or other stuff that we were able to kind of mess around with. When you get to open source code, people are just finding everyday things that they interact with, seeing how they can kind of get into interaction with them, and then putting out forth product that maybe can scale into something different. So when you talk about this conference, IoT was automatically the first thing that jumped off the board in my mind because of how many different applications a person could take and just kind of give out so that other people could build on top of it.
Yeah. I kind of go into this whole different weird space when I think about IoT. Like it just makes my mind think very differently about like interacting with the physical world in a very different way. Like if you think about the future where stuff may go around augmented reality,
Yeah.
the ability to kind of see digital things in the space in which we're seeing each other right now, or virtual reality, putting something on and becoming immersed into a different environment that is different than the environment we're currently in. Both of those spaces, I think, are heavily supported by the concepts of IoT, like where it can go. Because I envision like, walking into a room and having digital interfaces for all the things that I think are important.
Yeah.
Like I have this 3D printer over here. Okay, that's internet connected. Now I can 3D print and fabricate different things via my computer, download it, have it print something in real life. That thing in and of itself can become something intelligent.
Yeah.
Like a module in and of itself. Think about all the sensors you even have available. Like this, I said the plant, because I could put a sensor on this plant that tells me the CO2 levels in this room and now have that feedback into my hub.
And it allows you to make choices and decisions based on it. Like I think about, you talked about the smart bulbs. I've been doing a lot of research and like focus into like my sleep patterns and the blue light I receive. And I have it so that I'm typically not in my bedroom between the hours of 4 and 9 o'clock. But at 8:30 every single night, the light changes without me having to do it. So that when I walk into my bedroom later in the night to start my nightly routine, start getting ready, I don't have to remember to turn these lights to a different hue that helps my sleep. But it's already there. The light shuts off at a specific time, and it allows me to make decisions and to move forward based on these other processes that I no longer have to do. It's automated. I remember we were working on a project, or at least discussing it because somebody had brought it to us in regards to video cameras and school buses. And how, of course, the reason it came to us is because there was a lot of issues with bus drivers berating and doing wild things to children while on a school bus. And reverse. I remember being on that school bus and kids doing ridiculous stuff while they're on that school bus. So the video camera, they feel, protects both the bus driver, the bus company, and the students from any ill harm.
Bro, did you see the bus that literally, I just saw this today. It was a bus driver who was telling kids to sit down. They weren't sitting down. And so he brake checked them, Now, I don't know about you all. I don't know about anyone in the audience, but I've been brake checked by a bus driver tons of times.
Many times.
Growing up.
With no phones.
There was like 30 misdemeanor counts of child abuse.
Oh.
Like, for brake checking.
You can't do that.
Yeah, I get it. You shouldn't do that.
You can't do that.
You shouldn't do it. He's like, and he literally is like, you want to see how dangerous this is? And he brake checked, but they had the video camera of him. Brake check, and the kid's like, boof.
And
like,
he knows he can't do that.
Yo, that was wild. Because you know how many bus drivers wouldn't exist?
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, I'd have been walking to school. Like, they'd have fired all my bus drivers.
All the bus drivers.
Yeah.
All the bus drivers would be gone. And I get that's a difficult thing because, I mean, the kid, they're not listening.
No.
No,
we were not. We were throwing.
That was wild. I don't know, like,
we were doing crazy
someone
stuff
drop a comment if you find that specific article.
Yeah, facts.
Because I hope that it was just wrong social media, like exaggerating things. 30 counts.
30 counts. That's kind of crazy.
Of misdemeanor child abuse
or endangerment.
Like, that's wild.
You're going away for quite some time.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Okay, so what happens? Like, he actually had to step on the brakes in the emergency situation. Well, the kid's standing up, and then he's hurt now, or she's hurt now.
They're still going after the bus driver.
Oh, 100%.
They're still going after the bus driver in that situation.
But he's like, but now I feel like he's trying to prevent this.
No one got hurt in the process, or quote unquote, in the process of this brake check. But like you said, in the event of emergency, someone's going to get hurt.